Big up, big up, big up, big up. And welcome to the Liverpool 12th Man Show. I'm Liverpool 12th Man, and we are about to do a deep dive into, just looking at what the defensive midfielders are, what the pool is like. I guess I would say it'll be a deep dive into a shallow pool, which is somewhat dangerous. But
Never a good idea.
Never a good idea, but all the same. We are joined by the Irishman today. How are you doing, the Irishman?
Yeah, very well, very well.
Good. And I hope that you're doing well out there too. Out in the chat, big up to Cedric, big up to Redbird, big up to Lee, big up to Marion joining us today. Big up to one of the queens, Red's queens, joining us today. Hope that you're well. Yeah. So we were just gonna give a synopsis of what exactly is out there, as in who we would actually try to figure out as being a solution to our defensive midfielder. I know that as of late, there's been certainly talks about what kind of formation, and heavily relies on what kind of formation Arne Slot is going to put into the works here at Liverpool. But for right now, we're just going under the assumption that there is going to be a defensive midfielder necessary for this plan. I know that there's been talks about that possibly Endo might be a name that might be on the market again, or might not be with the team next year. I don't really understand that, to tell you the truth. I know that basically, having the versatility, you want a good defensive midfielder. You have a DM in that we bought it for 16 million. Some might say that we even overpaid for him possibly. And it's one of those cases where you're not going to get a healthy return value on Endo, in the sense of you're not going to get your money back. He's just a player that you ride out his contract. He's not making a lot of money in football terms, and that he's making 50K. So it's one of those cases where, is it the most or biggest or top priority in jettison him from the team, and possibly trying to figure out what we're going to do with even a less of a destroyer in our midst. Again, it goes. I understand it goes with what Arne Slot's going to go with, but I figured I'd go and at least bring you a list of who I think. I made a top 20 list of who I think is out there. And who is relative to this list, or relative to be looked at as well.
I don't think Endo is going anywhere either. Don't think that's I think
it's kind of silly, right?
Well, your man, what's his name, came out with a video today, David Lynch,
and
he was just talking. It was just really about all the 10 lads that are getting let go on a free. That was kind of more the main part of the video, but he was just saying, there's nothing really happening, of any note, but he's just saying one or two things. Ignacio he's been told there's nothing there. That's literally not a deal. The same with Varela. He said that's not happening. We're not looking at him. And he also said Endo isn't leaving. That's not a thing that's happening either. So he was there isn't a lot of news, really, more kind of, but we've lost. Today's a sad day. We have lost the Polish Messi.
Yes, we have. I have that actually as the end, but I could start. We could start with that, or either or. I have that news on some of the outgoings actually.
You want to start with it?
Yeah. We can start with it. If you like.
I mean, I only really recognized three of the names. I recognized Musiala. Well, obviously Thiago and man, but I recognised Freundorf, who's been on a long time, and I recognised obviously Musialowski, and one other guy I kind of heard of, but I wasn't sure if it was the right guy I was thinking of. And then the rest of them, to be honest, I had never heard of them.
Adam Lewis, probably.
Yeah, probably. And there was a lot of kind of just young guys that have, just.
He's a young guy. He's a young guy too.
We're all young kind of kids getting caught. So,
yeah.
But
I'd say the Reds have confirmed Musialowski and Frondorf and Adam Lewis, Malkuma, Frondorf, and Adam Lewis will all leave the club this month. Academy players: Nathan Gidlin, Francis Gamea, Luke Huiston, Niall Osborne, Cody Pennington are also leaving the club. That brings the total up to 10 players now that are now leaving the club. Obviously, Thiago and Matip are on that list as well. Again. And also, I think I said Gilbert. Yeah, I did. And if you do put that together, it's a lot of those names are just names that probably have been more so either with the youth academy or out on loan and just have not panned out, basically. And for their best interest as well as the club's best interest, it's just time to move on, basically.
Especially the guys who got chances. I remember Freundorf started a preseason game. God, this must be 5 years ago now at this stage. And he was one that was being talked about with someone else. And I think that's the last time I saw him, other than some random youth game I was watching for some reason. And Musialowski, he got a chance. He even got cup minutes. So a lot of them are lads that never even made the grade. So I'm looking at it. There is kind of there's the Matips and the Thiagos. Then you've got like those boys that I've never heard of who never even were going to get into the first. How you in and Ravi, and then you got those two boys, Musialowski and Freundorf, who were kind of given chances. They do, like Musialowski has first team minutes, fair play to him. Freundorf, I think, only in friendlies, but they were kind of two that had obviously shown a lot more potential, but not enough. And who knows? Maybe he will turn out to be someone pretty good when he gets to just a lot of these players. Just you need to play every week.
You do. You want to get those. You want to get the the actual appearances so that you can kind of not only get the experience, but also just fine tune your game or get the confidence that you need to actually believe that you deserve to be here. So, those are all the names that I have that are officially departing the club. And you notice that again, Endo wasn't a part of that list. I know that. I remember Daryl brought that up yesterday, so I looked into it, and then I also commented on Grizz from GrizzCon. Did like a synopsis of keep or sell, and he had Endo on his list of being someone that he would sell. I didn't understand it at all, though. I just understand that we need a DM. Our team played differently with a DM, and I understand this too. And this is going to. I just saw the point in the chat. I think it was. Wasn't from Lee, but you'll have to. Hopefully, I'll come across it again. But basically, it is somewhat of an adjustment for us in that we now have to we don't know unless you watch Freundorf, excuse me. Unless you watched his previous team in Holland, Slot's previous team, then you're probably not going to really have a sense of what to even expect, and I would also even go as far as a lot of us, and when I say the adjustment period has to go on, a lot of us are still stuck on thinking of the 4-3-3 that we've always played, and that concept of the 4-3-3. Now, if we do go into a 4-2-3-1, or maybe even this is something that I could possibly even see us doing, which would be interesting if we do this, possibly even go back. It'd be a back in time thing, but go to a 4-4-2 possibly. There's some ideas of how do we construct this midfield and what kind of DM are we going to be? Is going to be necessary to that midfield? And I still think that it's always good to have that destroyer or that one guy that you can at least rely on, at least one guy that you can rely on if you got to lock down a game or something along those lines. You want to go defensive measures or something like that. So
Street.
The streets have arrived. I see that. Rasta Crab. Big up to everyone in the chat too, by the way. Redbird, Rasta Crab, Jimmy, Lee, Ian, big up. Robbie, who I said hello to in the chat. Hi, Laura. I said hello to some of the others that joined us early, like as in Marion, of course, and Cedric, and big up to each and every one of you, each and every time.
I think there's an obvious talking point there. Everybody's got their. Well, people seem to have taken the Adrian news pretty badly.
Oh yeah. That's okay. I might as well knock that one off too. I had that one for later on too, but
everyone in the chat.
No worries. We can knock that one out too. Adrian has signed a new deal. He'll be here for another 12 months. The contract offer comes just after Hans Leitert was announced as FSG's new global head of goalkeeping. He's an Austrian. And he's tasked with installing a new coaching department at Anfield.
Well, that's talk about nominative determinism. Hans is a good name for a goalkeeping guy. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, it is a good name for a goalkeeper. Yeah, it is a really good name for a goalkeeper.
Well, to me, it makes sense. It's a third choice goalkeeper who doesn't play. His job won't be to play. His job will be because you always have to have three keepers, especially for training routines and all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and that's highly valued by the club. And you always have to have a top quality third choice keeper who is top quality in all of those departments, is not expected to play. So say, for instance, we found out tomorrow that Kelleher and Adrian were just say they were both staying, and we found out they were both out for 6 months. We'd be buying another keeper. We wouldn't be promoting Adrian. Yeah. So I don't really think it's that big a deal. But I think the most important point about it is that we have a hell of a lot of upheaval this summer.
A
lot of changes.
I think we're going to have possibly more outgoings than we are necessarily.
A lot more. So because the amount of things, like especially with Kelleher leaving already in that department, if Adrian never plays a game next season, that's perfect. That's what we all want. But I just think it's one extra deal that you can just kick it down the road till next summer and do it then, especially with you're going to be replacing Kelleher and all the other things that are going to be happening and going on. That it's not really a hugely important thing to do, because like I said, if we thought we were going to have to play him, we would buy another keeper. Now, if for some reason we end up in the incredibly unlucky situation where the window has closed, and for some reason both of our first and second choice keeper are out for some prolonged period of time, well, we've been struck down badly, okay. But the guy is not there to play. He's there to be the third choice keeper. So I understand it. I understand why people are annoyed, but I just think of all the things we really need to do and take care of, that one can wait. If it's not essential, it can just wait. Give him a year, let him sit there and sort out a lot of other things. I understand how unpopular it is, but he doesn't play. And also, he's not that bad. Like, I mean, when he had to play, he hasn't played in a while, but when he did, it's never like he was shocking or awful. I mean, of all the third choice keepers in the Premier League, no way I'm having him as the worst or even top 10.
No. Put respect on Adrian's name a little bit. I mean, like, come on. The guy got us. The guy did, help us.
I'm not saying he's top quality.
Bring home silverware. He helped us bring some silverware. He's actually a part of a trivia question now, I think, which is like, who's the last goalkeeper to win at the Etihad?
Oh,
It's
okay.
Adrian.
Yeah. And also,
It's
he's a
kind,
top
that's kind of a
quality.
crazy concept, but it's Adrian.
No one is saying he's a top quality keeper. Saying he's a top quality.
I'm not going to say he's on top. I'm just saying that
No.
appreciate the fact that he's serving what we need as a third keeper.
Exactly what
If we
Redbird.
are in a position where our first and second keeper are injured, I'll knock on wood, and we have to rely on our third keeper, we're in a bad place already.
Yeah.
So,
No, exactly what Redbird is saying. Adrian is third choice. City's third choice is Carson. He hasn't played football since 2014, and people notice it now. They're making mountains out of molehills. Exactly. Move on from the Adrian thing.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got some serious Caribbean representation in the house right there. You know what I mean? Well, we've got East Coast, West Coast. We've got everybody. Chris Angel now.
I got Chris Angel in the house. West Coast.
Anybody else feeling nervous all of a sudden? I don't know. For some reason, I feel nervous. I haven't spoken to Chris in a while. Yeah, he might be one of those. Yeah, he might be one of those moods.
Big up to Max as well. Big up to Max and Red for Life. Big up, Red for Life. I just thought and hopefully Chris sticks around for the entire list, because I do have a player that I have as a player I would like to see us possibly bring in. Now, I'm not saying he's the solution. I'm not saying he's the first choice. He's the first choice DM. He's more so of someone of a wonder kid prodigy that I would like to try to bring in into the works. But I will get to this list all due right now. I will get to this list that I made. And
just by the way, Rasta, anybody who frets, anybody who starts getting in a worry, anybody who starts bringing up the homegrown stuff gets instantly banned. We're not starting already with the homegrown. We're not starting. It's not even. It's like the 5th of June, and we're starting with homegrown stuff. Never is a problem. I know. It has never. Talk about making mountains out of molehills. Homegrown has never been an issue. We've never had an issue with it. It's a simple problem to fix, and we've already freed up 2 with Mattapan. It's homegrown has never been an issue. People just bring it up all the time, and it's not a problem. You never need to worry about whether, if we need to buy someone, whether they're homegrown or not, we'll buy them. And you fix it by bringing in a kid to the squad. It's never been a problem at all. So, yeah, don't worry about the homegrown issue.
So I made this list, and I don't think some of the names I'm sure are going to be depicted as being, oh, you're wrong to list them there, or you're wrong to say this or that. Cool. Put that in the comments, please. And tell me where I got it right. Tell me where I got it wrong, or tell me where you would have gone different, at least, or maybe would have gone different with the selections. But I did a top 20, and in my top 20 were some names that you most certainly have heard of. I know there are people out there that are very bullish on Fofana. I don't have him. I have him at number 20. And I know that people are very bullish on him. I know he's done well at Monaco. He has good measures for a defensive midfielder, and he's played well ever since, taking on the first team, or the first option role for their team, ever since Tuchemeni left. But I definitely have Fofana at number 20. At number 19, I have Caicedo. at number 19. I think Caicedo is a talented player. It's kind of crazy that, he got attached to such a high figure for his transfer fee. I know it's also crazy considering that we were about to go all in and how bullish everyone was on him, that he's relatively low on my list. I get that. But I still think that he's number 19. I have Conrad Lamer as 18. I'm going to rock through a bunch of these until we get to the top 10 at least. Then we'll get a little more in-depth with the top 10.
We're not doing it one by one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to go one by one. I'll just knock them all out for the top 20 to 10. But I'm gonna get more in-depth with the top 10 to 1. And then that way we can kind of talk about who we really think about that. But yeah, so I have At 18, I had Conrad Lamar. I think that he's a talented player. At 17, I had Manu Kone. I thought he's a very, very good player as well. 15, I had Thomas Partey. I get it. There's a reason why Rice is able to even do some of the things that he's able to do, and also there's a difference between Arsenal when Partey is involved in it. It hurt me to put him in there because I hate the fact that he's what he did to my boy Lucho. But all the same, at where am I? 14, yes, 14. At 14, I had Bentancur. At 13, I have 13. I have Ugarte, or excuse me, 13. I have Alvarez, and then I have 12 Ugarte. I'm not going to put. I don't have Casemiro in here. I think he's dropped out of the top 20 since his his kind of sad performances. I would even have possibly so I'm at 11, I believe, right now, right? I have Boubacar Kamara at 11, and now we're at the top 10. All right. So now we got those names out of the way. Now we're at the top 10. I have top 10 in I have the top 10 list here, and I know there are going to be some names in this list that might be questionable because one of the players, it's kind of he's a DM, but he's not a DM. Some people would consider. So I do have an honorable mention. So anyway, but I have Endo being my number 10 DM in the world currently. I think a healthy Endo is a very talented player and a very committed player to getting. He's more of like a role style player in that he'll just do what you tell him to do kind of concept. You're not expecting incredible things from him or anything like that. When it comes to number 9, I have Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz is definitely a player that I think is a talented player. I think that it's arguable to say that he might not necessarily be looked at as a DM, but I consider him a DM. I don't know if you do or not. At number 7, I had Basuma. No, is Irishman. Yeah, big up. I have Yves Basuma at number 7. I have at number 6, I have Paulinho at number 6. At number 5, I have Joshua Kimmich. I put Joshua Kimmich in there. And I get that Luis could be looked at as an 8, and that's why I said that some people don't recognize him as being a 6. On some of the scouting reports, it has him as being a DM. If you look at his DM role, or look at his his what do you call it, transfer market, it has DM as a position that he has played or is capable of playing. So I understand that he can play in 8 max. I do understand that. So I have Kimmich at 5. At 4, I have Tuchemeni. At 3, I have Alexi McAllister. At 2, Declan Rice. And at 1, I had Rodri. Now, if I didn't have Douglas Luiz in there, I would have put probably Bruno Guimaraes as well. That was the swap out, the honorable mention, I guess, would have been. I wanted to put Bruno. I wanted to get Douglas Luiz in there, but if we're not going to be able to get Douglas Luiz in there, I would have put him in in that same role or that same position as well. With those names I mentioned, there's not many names out there that are viable, connected, that we could viably see us bringing in. You know, like as in why I just made a quick listing of it. You know, I don't know if any of those names are names where you're going like, okay, yeah, that's a name that we could feasibly bring into this club. You know, like is there any name that I maybe missed that you would have thought could have been in this list, Irishman?
Oh well, yeah. I know it's. I like that's your top 20 kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If I was going to do my own, yeah, I'd probably have a few different players here and there. But I mean, just in terms of like, I players that we could actually go and get. I think that's what I was looking at from that point of view. Is
Right. And
you
that's why
know,
I was just giving that list. I was giving a rankings, but I mean, more so for
yeah,
that, I'm looking at what can we, what or who could we even bring to secure or upgrade at the DM role. I see the Ederson, Ederson from Atalanta is very hot topic right now. He's a very hot name on the list there.
yeah. I'm not really sure. Like the DM market is one of those things that I think we should be able to go out and get someone like that isn't isn't a big. We're not going to go out and get Chimene. Like I think we are going to get defensive midfielder regardless of what happens. But I think a lot of these players, like you say, they're all just kind of obvious players that are in big clubs on long-term contracts, or
Right,
they're players
right,
that we wouldn't
right,
be interested in buying, like the likes of Paulinho. Like we're not going to go for a 28-year-old. We're going to go for a much younger profile, hopefully at the upper end of our age scale, like 24. So when you
right.
look through that kind of list, like if you were to look at any list of, say, if you were to look at it, like even a statistical list of the top 20 best DMs, or maybe most of them wouldn't be players that we'd be going for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that it will be not someone we've never heard of, but someone that we're not expecting. You know, I really, yeah, I don't see how we go out there like there's an obvious issue or an obvious alternative or an obvious plug and play guy that comes in. But I just think that's because you know the, it's a narrow market, and because the likes of Enzo Fernandez and Saicedo going for that kind of money, I mean, it makes the really good ones and the really obvious ones, I think, kind of out of our price range. So
Mm-hmm.
probably potentially some guy in Holland or some guy in Germany. I don't know about. I mean, you've got players like, yeah, these boys are on these boys that have already gone to the bigger clubs, the ones that we wanted. Someone like
Right. In fact,
Fafana,
yes,
you
yes.
know, I really
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I'm really not sure about that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's not an. This is the thing. I can't say who we're looking at or who I think we might go for,
Mm-hmm.
because of, like a lot of things what you're saying. A lot of the people that you're listening there, yeah, they're not. I don't know. See, I'm all out of ideas when it comes to who we bring in that position, because everybody
Mm-hmm.
that brings up all the obvious ones, you've got all these things that are like no, 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 no. So yeah, it's a really difficult. Do we buy from England? I don't think we'll buy from England.
And that's you're gonna have an English tax. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
gonna have the
like,
English tax certainly. Yeah,
and the
nappies
difficult.
available. Stop it, Dara. Yeah. um, I put it in. I'm putting out there because it's the one of the major reasons why I went through that whole list too is why I was saying like you're looking at these lists as and whether it's obviously Declan Rice isn't coming to this team. Obviously, Rodgers not coming to this team, but even the names, even if you want to put, and that's if you do consider Camavinga six or not, Camavinga could definitely be in the top 10 for sure. Tuchemeni would definitely be in the top 10 as well. Um, um, but like you're not getting those players most likely from Real Madrid, especially with the salaries that you'd have to pay them to incentivize them to even come from Real Madrid to this club. Kimmich is already on a big term contract or big contract. I know that he's looking to leave from Bayern Munich, But then again, where does he fit in? And also, I'm not saying that Joshua Kimmich doesn't have time left in his career, but he is starting to get up there in age. So, but I would still certainly utilize his talent. He's an incredible talent. Yeah.
Doesn't fit our profile.
But do you rely on him to do that DM role of destroyer? Like, is that a role that you would want to see him take on at his with the miles on his legs?
He's Kimmich for me. He's not obviously not a destroyer, but that's just because he can play a lone six. He just does it differently. He's more he can do all the things that a destroyer or a breaker upper play does, and he also then can do all the other stuff. So that's why he's world class, and that's why he's one of the best at it. I'd have absolutely no doubt whatsoever about Joshua Kimmich coming into our team and performing, because that's just how good he is. Whether we would never buy him because of his age and his price and his wages and all of that. But yeah, he's without doubt one of the best sixes in the world. An heir apparent, Tony Cruz. So,
I mean, I want to see us move from utilizing McAllister from the 6 into an 8. I'll admit that. I want to see him get advanced more so into being a part of the facilitator / offensive consort that we could use. But I
like Bentancur. You know, I like him. It's just his fitness, maybe. Oh, Ant is here. Hey, Ant, how are you?
Yeah, big up, Ant. I see it.
So,
and Regista, big up to you too, by the way. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, they're not realistic targets.
They're not realistic targets, like as in
So I think there might be some guy out there that the name will pop up and no one will have mentioned him before today, and 2 days later everyone will be talking about how much they know about him. But you know, I'm not buying the Turams and the Kones, and like I think kind of Ignacio, like David Lynch said today, that's just not, like, there's zero interest there. So like I was saying about these rumors seeming like they're being recycled from last summer to fill in space. Because, like, he literally said at the start of the video, he said, look, this is a transfer video, but there's nothing happening. Like, it's all about outcomes. Like, this is a video, like, there's literally nothing happening at the moment. Nothing. I know he's like, I'm not even going to report it because there's just nothing happening, and that's coming from a Liverpool transfer guy. So I think none of our targets have been moved on yet. So if any of these things are coming out saying we're in talks with this guy, we're in talks with that guy, I'm very skeptical at the moment, because the management team hasn't gotten together properly yet. Everyone's still on their holidays, a couple of weeks off, and then come back soon and then work and start. But I'm very, very skeptical that any transfer stories coming out now that go beyond, you know, he's on a list or something like that. We're not in talks with anybody. We're not sitting at the table with anybody. We haven't put a bid in for anybody. That definitely hasn't happened. So it's all about getting rid of, or, you know, not getting rid of, but letting all the things that are going to be gone, let them go, and then see what you're left with in terms of, you know, all the staff they're leaving, let everyone get out and go. Like, they will already be gone. But all the players leaving on freeze, let them all come out. And then we'll start dealing with who comes in. But just to Chris Angels there, David Lynch, that Liverpool reporter, he came out and said absolutely zero interest in Alan Varela. He said zero. He said that's just not something the club are looking at.
I saw that.
He said the same with Ignacio. Nobody, club aren't looking at him.
Yeah,
so that seems to be a no-go.
That's the thing about these speculations. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to finish just saying the Varela one, and that was the two. He was kind of saying, he's saying that with certainty he can say, look, I've been told no interest in Ignacio and no interest in Alan Varela.
Yeah. Honesty brought that up yesterday, it's funny because those names, again, on like, you know, the socials and all the rumor mills, those were names that we were heavily linked to or targeting. I mean, like right now, apparently, you know, even, I know this isn't a DM, but, you know, for instance, right now, a Euro the young 18-year-old from France that plays with Lille.
Oh, yeah.
He is reportedly been linked to an offer sheet from Manchester United, who have offered a reported 51 million pounds, so 60 million euros. It's been reported that have been offered to Lille for Euro. I think we're going to see some names out there. I primarily brought up this list. I even asked the chat for some of their concepts and ideas of who they thought would be who they would target in this run. And why I brought this list up, though, more so is because the names that are more established, the names that are certainly warranting first team appearances, those names are certainly not names that are really viable names for us to even go in for. You know, like I don't see these names coming to our club, unfortunately, especially with the new administration that we have, and you know the concept of the age profile that they look for. You know, mixing all these different things in, it's going to be an interesting. And again, going back to having a new coach that we have to, you know, adjust our mindsets to as to how and what he's looking for. I mean, like, it's one of those cases where, like, we're not most likely going to get a DM that we all say, oh, I know who that is.
Exactly. Like, and I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that. I trust the boys. I trust the system that's in place to bring in. Like, we haven't bought a dud in a long time. The only duds that we bought have been because of injury, that they didn't work out. Naby and Thiago didn't work out purely because of injury. Talent was there, ability was there. We haven't bought a bad player. People name a few like Kabak and that. We loaned them, we didn't buy them. You know, our recruitment has been on point for a long time now. So I'm willing to trust anyone that we bring in, regardless of whether they're a big name or not. Like Dara said earlier on that or Gertruda, again, someone I don't really know a lot about. So if these are the guys, but yeah, I'm pretty relaxed about the people in charge of bringing the players in. Whereas I can remember not that long ago, just really not trusting the players who are people who are bringing players in. So at the moment, but one thing that I've seen a couple of times now is quotes like, which we were talking about the other night. Remember we were talking about yeah, we only loaned Arthur Mello. That's what I'm saying. We only loaned him. We spent $6 million to loan him. Yeah, but Kabak, we only loaned him, didn't buy them, didn't sign him on a permanent contract.
By the way, Mello is actually doing really well. By the way, I saw Red for Life. Mello.
Sorry, just a bit. Do you know what we were saying? Like when we were talking about bringing in a midfielder, and then we started going, well, even though we are short a DM, yes, we are short a DM, but look at our midfield roster. If you want Trent in there, Trent, Endo, Jones, Elliott, Gravenberg, McAllister, Zabazla.
We do have some DMs. Yeah, we do have some players that can be.
There's a lot of footballers, but your man was, even David Lynch was saying, is like, he was kind of hinting that someone in midfield will have to go. He said that you don't want a bloated squad. And that's true. You don't want a bloated squad. You have to tread that fine line. You don't need 72 players all sitting there kicking up a stink. You know, but it'll be, I think if we bring in a DM, I'm almost convinced now at this stage that will mean a sale from the midfield. And the only one that I can really see being sold, I know some people got their way to be Gravenberch. I think maybe Jones. Maybe. I can just see that happening because you can't have all the players, you know? You can't have all of them. So I think if it was to happen, this is what was been alluded to, that there ain't enough. There isn't, you know, you can't have everyone. Oh, hey, Dakota. Yeah, so
Team Capri Suns.
Yeah, I can just see it been, unfortunately, not advocating for it. I'm just saying.
Right.
I think because if you ask me to if you ask me to then name a midfielder that you think we would sell, okay, right, let's go the reverse way. McAllister, we're not selling him. Sabazai, we're not selling him. Gravenberch, almost certainly not selling him, in my opinion. Elliott, definitely not selling him. Endo, not selling him. So what are we left with? Trent, we're not selling him. Like
Oh,
Besetic, maybe hold on loan. So it's Curtis. It comes down to Curtis to be the guy. I think, unfortunately, Scouser or no, young player that everybody loves or no.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's football sometimes. And yeah, you can't have 17 strikers. And if you want to bring in a new striker,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I
you
learned
know,
that
you
the
got to
hard
play
way.
one of the strikers.
Yeah.
So I just see it. I just see it. I don't like the way that yeah, I just don't like
Yeah,
the way it affects our
yeah.
by
And
not
this is
having something.
something. So
No,
so
what
real quick,
I was
then,
saying
real
there.
quick,
Yeah, what I
Irishman.
was saying.
I was gonna say real quick, Irishman.
Yeah.
There is a question here, and I thought it was a good question too. And I'm gonna bring up your selections too, your suggestions at least, from the chat in a second. Um, Dara asks, here's a question: Are we focusing too much on a DM? There are ways around it. He's asking or saying.
Yeah,
Um,
they're
and I can
detrimental.
understand that, but I know that most times when you say that, and especially, you know what, there's no question. I understand that we're going to have a different team, different concept of how we play, formation, structure, the whole nine. But what I mean is that there was a noticeable difference when we did have a DM in our formation, with the way that we played, with the coverage that it provided for us. That I can accept and appreciate, because look, I early in this camp, or in this previous campaign, I was saying I don't really care if we have a DM per se. I like the fact that we did, and we had the coverage of one, but I wasn't saying that we had to have a destroyer in our club to make Klopp's
No,
system work. I was
sick.
hoping that we were going to have a Pachetic, or a Thiago, or a McAllister, or maybe even a Curtis Jones in that role, in as being that six, to be able to be more of an offensive minded six, and rely more on the structure of that of the center backs. But
Yeah, well, I think it was like the problem with this, and it's not necessarily a problem, it's just an understanding of what that role is and what
yeah,
that
yeah,
role means and what you
yeah.
think that role is and what someone else thinks that role is. It's just your defensive midfielder. It's your
Mm-hmm,
holder, basically.
mm-hmm,
It's just the guy that holds. And
mm-hmm,
if he does that, then it's like if you got someone who's good at the defensive side, if you got someone who's good at the defensive side and then also can progress the ball, but then you've got a guy who's 100 million. If you've got a guy who just breaks up play, that's a different story. That's someone you need in your squad.
mm-hmm.
But you need someone who can just is going to be the whole of midfielder more more so than not, because like we spoke before, you could track if you put on a line the increase in the productivity and the quality of McAllister's performances tacked to the line where Endo started playing every week. You will see that Endo's introduction to the team allowed us obviously to free up McAllister and
Absolutely,
become much more
absolutely,
influential. So we were
absolutely.
taking away from a Mac and taking away from other people. I haven't asked them to hold. So you bring in a guy just that knits it all together, holds it together,
Mm-hmm.
and that guy can be top quality. He doesn't have to be a junkyard dog. He can actually have quality on the ball as well, but he can hold the midfield and he will tackle and he will win the ball.
That's
Nothing
why I
wrong with
thought Endo was a decent
that. Yeah.
choice. I
So
didn't
you
think
get
that
the
Endo
the
is the. I
24
don't
year
think
old
Endo is the
Endo.
best DM in the world, but I
No, but
definitely think that Endo serves for what we need him to serve for, which is just be that DM dog. Like, be that one that just, like, hunts down, makes tackles, does like tactical fouls if necessary, is able to basically turn the ball over to our team, so that we can create like quick offense, as in, like, get it quickly out to like a Trent or out to, a Dom or someone or a McAllister that can progress the ball forward. Not relying on him to do that, just mainly relying on him to be that guy that sweeps up, basically, in essence.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Fabinho never wants a playmaker.
I see that. I
He was
saw that too.
people mention number 8s and Endo mentioning DMs. Well, this is the thing. When you talk about a DM, you talk about defensive midfielder. A lot of people have a different idea of what that
Concept.
is.
Yeah. There's
It's
many
just a
concepts.
holding. It's just,
Yeah.
but it's not that there's, yeah, it's not that, oh, it's that there's many different types of defensive midfielders and holding
Yeah.
midfielders.
Yeah.
Some of them are just out now, basically defensive, and their job is to get it, give it, get it, and give it. Your
Yes.
job is to
Exactly.
tackle, get it, give it.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got that guy, get it and give it, but if there's nothing on, he can play a pass. He's worth 10
Yeah.
million more. You get that guy, he can get it and he can play a pass and he can dribble past the guy. He's worth an extra 50 million. Do you see how it goes? Like
Mm-hmm.
Pirlo was a defensive midfielder. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all types. It's all types. So you need one of everyone. Like if you can, you bring in someone that works in a partnership with someone. If someone can do the dog work, someone does the hard yards, that frees up the guy beside him. It's all a blend and a meld and making it all work together. And I just think the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that's missing, like our midfield is full of guys who are much more attack minded. Gravenberch, McAllister, Elliott, Szoboszlai, and even Jones. And Endo is the only guy whose skill set would be predominantly defensive.
Right.
Even though McAllister. So we just need that kind of 24, 25-year-old guy, because if Endo was 27, this is cool. We're fine.
Oh, if Endo is 27, then we're locked and loaded. Yeah.
And I think if you bring in a 24-year-old guy, a Chumani in inverted commas, right? Then I think that would allow us to do what I think we need to do now, which is, because of the season that he missed last year, is I think Bajcetic needs to go to Spain or Holland and play every week. I think he actually needs a loan now at this stage, because I want him to play every single week and build his confidence and fitness back up. He's not going to get that here now at the moment with all of the players ahead of him. So I'd love to see him go out on loan to like a lower level La Liga club, or an Eredivisie club, and play everything. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is bringing in you can bring in whatever kind of player you want. It's just how big is your checkbook. If you tell me we can bring in a Beckenbauer, you tell me we can sign Beckenbauer. Don't buy him. I'm going to buy the best guy, Dara. Buy the best guy. If we can sign him, if we can, which is the whole point of the top 20 list. Where's the guy that we can buy on it? Who is this guy? If you tell me there's a guy out there that can do both, he's affordable, is willing to join Liverpool, and is available, sign me up, man. Sign me up.
No, I think that Endo does have the unique skill set that we're looking for, in that he is like a destroyer in that sense. But I think also the sheer fact that he's, again, like the factors, like Max has been actually putting in some great statistics out here, like considering, what Endo provides for us and how he rates against other DMs in the league in comparison. But I'm not saying that Endo is my first choice to be the starter going forward, but he is certainly a player that would be great to have as a option on that bench. And whether he starts or whether it's as a fill-in starter, whether it is as a starter, whether it's as a squad player, I think that he is a good option to have in a veteran presence that understands the game. We don't have to watch him develop into an actual player. He's already, gotten through those stages. There is a player that I didn't put on this list because he's young, and is a player that I've had my eye on as a possible player I'd like to see us bring in. Right now, the only unlikelihood of it happening is that he plays in MLS currently. But he was with Atletico Juniors. It's a team in Argentina. That name is I have it here. Federico Redondo. I think he's someone that I think could be someone that we bring in and possibly try to incorporate into the style or into that little bit of both that you're asking for, because he does have passing skills, but he also has the ability to be physical and to be able to not get like bullied off of the ball. It's a good sign if I got Chris's stamp of approval, possibly. But yeah, he is someone that I am definitely bullish on trying, possibly seeing us acquire. He wouldn't be a lot of money to try to acquire him for the team. He's been often regarded as a Sergio Busquets. Basically, is the player that he's been regarded as being like.
It's his son, Ian. It's his son.
What's that?
Sorry.
Fernando Redondo is the dad. He used to play for AC Milan. Yeah.
Played for Real Madrid, played for Argentina.
Yeah, played for Real Madrid too. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
World class.
Yes. I think that would be a really, really great addition. Right now, he's playing in Inter Miami, obviously getting the opportunity of a lifetime to play with Messi, living in Miami, and probably, enjoying every minute of it. But he's a player that I think, again, I would love to see us bring in. I think that he's a phenomenal talent. I think that he's also a player that, is at that age bracket that you can possibly put some time into and help develop. Now, do I say he's a first choice? Possibly not. And that's why you have Endo. It's the same reason why having Endo again is why I'm confident that a Bajcetic will have opportunity and time and opportunity to develop back into getting his legs and getting his confidence in the ability to play alone. So yeah, what is this, Chris? He's playing alongside Sergio B. Yeah. Ian's giving me props too. Interesting call with that one. 12. He meets his Argentinian scouting criteria. I got you on that one too. And you know what, Daryl, don't. This is why I sometimes I have to push back on that. Daryl says no thanks, no MLS players, want class. One of the left back, the choices at left back that I would have loved for us to have gotten, played at the Vancouver Whitecaps at the time, okay, which is the MLS team, and is the Canadian that I would have loved to have seen come to this club. Ended up going obviously to Bayern Munich, but you can't just because he plays in MLS has nothing to do with class or not class. I mean, to be honest with you, there are some very, very talented players in the MLS right now. There are some very talented players. Don't put yourself into the. I'm just saying I don't like to put unless it's Clint Dempsey. Okay, there you go. I'll go with you on that. Clint Dempsey is my guy, but I would just say that sometimes you can find gems out there. Because Alphonso Davies was probably not on many people's, on many people's lists, but he's a player that obviously Bayern Munich took a chance on and has certainly panned out.
I would disagree that he wasn't on a lot of people's lists. He was probably one of the highest rated players in world youth football. He was a big name. Okay. He was very, very well. Alphonso Davies, all those lists that came out every year, best players in the world under 20, best players in the world under, he was always up around the top. People he was definitely, he was well known.
But I'm also saying that but there is talent. There's talent.
Yeah.
There's
Look,
talent here in
there's
North
talent
America,
everywhere.
albeit
There's
I am
talent
biased to the North American
No,
market. But
there's talent everywhere if you can
yeah,
go and find it. But there's going to be a higher level of adaptation and things like that. It's it's not a market that's proven. It's not that any market, but it'll take a while. In 10 years' time, if the quality over there goes up and up and up and up and up, then of course you'll see people looking at that market more. But at the moment, yeah, it's just people who wait to see an MLS player go to maybe a slightly smaller club and then see how they adapt to Europe and pick them up. Yeah, at the moment it's not like, say, your performances for LA Galaxy are not earning you a move to Man United or Real Madrid or something like that. You have to go to a Freiburg or a Leipzig or something. But like I say, in 10 years' time, maybe it might be different. That if you're a top scorer in the MLS, you could be saying, well, if he's top scorer in the MLS, you know,
yeah,
then he
yeah.
might be good. In 10 years' time, in 15 years, because
I didn't thought of it.
hopefully, I'd love to see the MLS outstrip. I'd rather see a lot of these boys going over there than going to the likes of Saudi,
Yeah.
and increasing, the quality in the MLS rather than. But anyway, that's a thing for
Well,
another
then
day.
is it? I'll ask this question too because I did ask. I'll bring up while we discuss this. I'll bring up some of the suggestions from the chat. But
There's lots
I'll
of
ask
great
this.
stuff in the chat tonight, but no, if you want to keep going through the chat, there's lots of engagement. There's lots of people with a lot of things to say in the chat tonight. So
Oh yeah,
if you
no,
want
the
to,
chat is buzzing tonight, and I love the fact
yeah,
that
it's really
each
good.
and
And
every one of you are here with us today.
yeah, definitely. I just want to
Um,
say that as well. Thanks for coming in, everyone. It's
yeah,
really good crowd. Really good crowd. Thanks for coming in.
yeah. It's one of those things where like yeah. I and big up Philip. I agree with this comment too. He's saying 12 young players that have potential that play in MLS is because they haven't had the opportunity to play in one of the big five leagues. There are those cases. There's also situations like, for instance, you know, Manchester City, for instance, have a team in the MLS, and they utilize it as a team to be like a developmental team in a sense too, as well, with some of their talent, as as an opportunity to develop under the likelihood of being able to get those players back in at City if they deem it necessary or deem it as if they have made that the case. But what I was going to ask is this: do we need, going back to Dara's question, is bringing a DM one of your top priorities, Brian? Is bringing in a DM one of your top priorities?
It's my number two. I've got really three, I suppose. One is a little bit personal, but I just think the in-tray, like Arnie Slot's in-tray, when he comes into the office and he sits down, he has a look out over the pitches and all of that. He's going to he sit down and is like, right, okay, soak it all up, meet with the squad, all of that stuff. But there'll come a point, maybe 9 o'clock the next morning, where it's right, first order of business. And to me, it's centre half. Second order of business, defensive midfielder. That to me, those are the 1 and 2. We're going to look at Canade. What are we saying on him? Are we backing him to stay fit? Cool. If we are, cool. Obviously, Matip is gone, so that needs addressing.
Interesting too that Kanate has like started to get legs a little bit more, because a lot of people initially, I mean, it was he was. Yeah, people, I remember your reaction when I said that about, how I usually am the defense league for a lot of our players, and I love Ibu. Ibu's a talented player. It's just that it was more so his ability to stay fit is the biggest concern for a team that has their biggest Achilles heel has been their fitness levels.
Do you get ruthless with him? Do you? I don't think you do, because again, it's like the Adrian thing. If you're going to be losing Kelleher, you don't be losing like Kelleher and Adrian would be losing like Canate and Matip. It's like, No, I think
Yeah,
we keep Canade, but
yeah,
do we now look at him as going how much of a role is Kwanzaa going to play? I think it'll
yeah,
be a big role.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then you look at that centre half role. I think it's a huge hole that's obvious gaping. That to me, I think should be the number one. And then to bring in the next starting DM, I don't want to offend any six holding player, DM, regista, quarterback, destroyer, enforcer. Does that cover them all? Okay, so whatever you want, whatever your poison is, one of those guys, 24 top quality, bring him in. That guy, whoever he
Mhm,
might be,
mhm,
and that seems. And then you look at well, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? Like Max, of course, he disagrees. He says top priority is winger. I I don't know if that you could say it was our top priority. If you want to say top priority is winger, because people are up for sale, can't miss that opportunity. I don't know. That's not a reason to make something your top priority. Players will be available every season. Um,
mhm,
and yeah, it's not like you can't improve that area, but I just think you were talking about the two things we need to do first, where we would
mhm,
be shortest. Like if we did nothing in central defence and
mhm,
Canale continued to be injury prone next season,
mhm.
I mean, we'd be asking Van Dijk to stay fit all year, Kwanzaa to stay fit all year. Gomez has been, who knows what's going to happen with him. So yeah, I think kind of boring job. Again, also if Keller is to leave when it's obviously getting a number two in. And again, we were talking about Trafford the other night. I didn't realize. I was looking at it today. Burnley paid 19 million quid for him last season.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're not getting him.
they
We're
paid a
not
good
getting him
number.
for
Yeah.
10. Yeah, we're not getting him for 10 million quid. So I think
No,
that's not happening. No, if they
no.
want their
I mean,
money
it
back,
helps that they did get relegated. That could put a
yeah,
little bit of a factor on it, but
no way they're taking a loss on him. No,
they're
so
not going to take a
yeah,
loss on them. That's the
yeah,
reason why I think, truthfully, and this is again, whenever we speak, whenever I'm dealing with my transfers or dealing with the concept or the idea of bringing in players, there's factors that I look at. I look at how much he's making, like as in what the actual player is making in wages. I look at what the transfer was for him initially to come to whatever club he went to, because most times than not, they're going to look to at least make their money back, if not make money, you know. And if and then the other factors fall
and look,
into
Ant's saying there, but bloody City have a 30% sell-on clause, so that's even, that's another reason, you know.
oh wow.
So they'll have
Yeah.
to give 30% to any
So
money they get.
they'll have to get that 30% back.
They'll
It's
put
like,
that on the contract. They'll
right,
want their money
right,
back,
right,
right? They'll want their 18 at a minimum. They're going to want their 18 back
right.
plus
So let's
30% to
say,
cover City, so that makes it
yeah,
25 basically.
yeah.
So 25
Let's say
for
it's 20.
Trafford.
Let's say it's 20 to make it easy number. It's
Well,
20%.
no, 30% of 18 is closer to 25. So it's 20. It's
Oh
yeah,
well,
that
no, I
ain't
know. I was just gonna break down
yeah.
and say, let's say it's 20. If you sold them for 20 million, then they're getting 6 million of that is going to City.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. They
so
always
I
want
would
the
say
buying
most
club to
likely you
cover
would
that.
have to put up. You probably would try to add on 6 million around that, to kind of like make that.
Exactly. That's what they do. They put it on the buying club.
Yeah. So they're looking at like 25 million,
Yeah.
26 million,
That's
around
what they
that.
do these days.
Yeah.
When they put their evaluation on it and then
Yeah.
they put what they're gonna owe, they make
Yeah.
you pay that.
Yeah.
Because those clubs got sick of getting stung by that, having to give away like a quarter of the money that they earned. So they all got smart and they're
Yeah.
basically going, right, well, the value is this, and we're going to add on what it's going to cost us as close as
Yeah.
we can get. Obviously, it's not that straightforward or simple. I'm simplifying for
Right. Simplifying it for
you
certainly.
know, for the sake of just conversation. I'm just simplifying it. But they'd always add on the bit that they're going to have to kick back. So you're going to pay that now. So these
Mhm.
boys, yeah, if someone comes in and goes, 20, like, no, we can buy a really good second choice keeper for around the 8 million mark. That's where I want to be. You know, some young Dutch kid or German or whoever it might be, just some guy that everyone goes, look, he's top quality, bring him in from wherever. And like it was mentioned last night, the guy whose name I always get it, but he's going to be given a chance in pre-season. And like we said last night, if he turns out to be excellent, brilliant, give him a chance. All for that.
At keeper, yeah.
Okay, Glassos or something, bring that guy in.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, no, you cannot, Ant. No, you cannot. You absolutely cannot.
Danny Ward. No, I'm good on Danny Ward.
There's no return ticket you can check, mate. You can check his luggage. There's no return ticket. It was a one-way to Leicester. No way, man.
There you go. We got JK in the house too, by the way. I'm going to bring up JK to the panel here.
Good evening, guys.
How you doing?
I'm all good, bro. How you well? How you well, Brian?
Yeah, I am. I'm well, JK. No, that's a forgotten Michael Edwards deal, that is, by the way. We got 12 million for Danny Ward, 12 million. Ant will tell you exactly how much it was. And now he's their 5th choice keeper. That's a forgotten Michael Edwards classic, that is.
I was just addressing something in the chat here. I saw something about Diaz. Look, we're going to see some outgoings, I think, in this club, because there's going to be some players that just don't see themselves getting the kind of playing time and see themselves in the future with this current coach. And considering he has 3 years on his contract, that's quite a long time for some players to commit to a new project, to say the least. So I definitely want to push back on the whole buy to sell thing. I get that people always continuously say buy to sell, buy to sell. Pretty much every team is buy to sell nowadays with PSR rules. So I mean, like, I get the concept of or the idea, or the people that put it out there. Oh, we're gonna have to sell this player, sell that player. Yeah, chances are we are going to have to sell some players. Excuse me, but we will have some bit of a of what loosely is called a war chest, I guess you could say, that we can draw upon as well. Excuse me.
Never mentioned the war chest on a Liverpool chat. Just
I know.
Get down,
get crucified. I know. But what I just meant by that is that whether Bernie's comment about what Max apparently, I guess, said about Diaz, I don't believe that Diaz is a foregone conclusion that he's leaving. I don't believe so, because one, I think, for instance, Diaz provides what this coach really wants from our front line. He brings a quality and a certain attributes that I don't think anyone on our front line actually has in their locker, confidently in their locker. And that is the ability to break down a low block with dribbling and being able to have ball control, in the sense of being able to create simply by, utilizing his feet. I do believe that Salah had that in his locker, but it seems like as of late, Salah has definitely put that on the top shelf of his locker. If anything, he hasn't necessarily. It's a little bit of a reach for him to sometimes bring that portion of his game out, and it's something that I miss. I miss seeing Salah take on center backs and put them put them into the fire. But yeah, I don't know if Diaz is going to be going. I think that we're probably going to keep him. I don't think that getting back to the DMs, considering we don't have any DMs other than Endo, I don't think Endo is going to be leaving. I think that there was one other player, I believe, that was in that. He was saying how Salah might be leaving. Salah's not leaving. That is not a worry. I know that the Saudis are going to try to make a concerted effort to make him change, make us, if not him, change his mind. but I don't think that Salah is done with European football just as of yet. Excuse me. And I also think that when it comes to Salah, I just think that unless it's like some astronomical number, I don't make that deal. You know, it has to be some astronomical number that makes me go, oh, okay. You know, with this money, we can go out and buy a Rodrigo. We can up our price for 103 million that we offered. We can up it to 110 or whatever number we need to up it, or 115 if necessary, you know, for Rodrigo, you know, or those kind of cases. Like I just don't see that happening. Let me see what else we were saying here. You know what, too, Max, and this is something that I've been looking at, and Chris, you can answer this one too, because I see what he's saying. He just Chris has already got Diaz on the plane, but what Max is commenting on the ability, you know, dribbling past a player, looking for fouls, dribbling and not passing at the right time, blah blah blah. That's what I guess he's saying is the case with some of. I don't know if he's speaking on Diaz or if he's speaking on just all of our wingers at that.
But he's talking about Diaz.
But one, I wouldn't mind, and I know people are so hamstrung on always having a left footer on the right side. I've been very, very optimistic with the ability that we've seen and some of the play that we've seen from Diaz on the right wing. Now, I'm not saying that he should start in front of Salah. I'm not saying that at all. But I wouldn't mind seeing him as a right wing option, possibly more often this year. And if that means by bringing him on the right wing and in cases where Salah's not in the lineup, or where possibly in a 4-2-3-1, taking Salah, and just this is just me speaking out the box of some tactics here. Maybe taking Salah, moving him to a 10 role, and or I don't necessarily see Salah as a striker, but maybe as a 10 role, and utilizing Diaz as a right wing, freeing up that left wing to utilize with either obviously Cody, or you can then mix in whether you want to put in Diego or whether you want to put in even Nunez in that left wing role, or if not have or shuffle them with the striker position with that front nine. These are all just options with these players that I think could be something that we see go forward with this new coach. It's a possibility. I'm speaking as that, you know, just off the top of my dome here, but like that's just something I didn't know if you guys ever thought of as well. JK, do you have an opinion on like I know this is a DM deep dive. We're going to get back into the DMs, but we've kind of migrated towards our front line and center back. We're going all over the place. So we'll speak on the front line since we're talking about Diaz.
Yes.
Yeah, for me, go on, Brian. Go on.
No, I was just going to, yes, good evening, JK.
You know.
Yeah.
Now, I just wanted to quickly say that, you know, back in the days when we used to play football and stuff, and someone told me to play on the left wing as a right-footed player, I'll go and see. I'll tell him to go and see the doctor. You know, I never really understood it. Okay, I understand you. I think you can cut in and score and stuff, but for me, if you're playing out wide, I want you to beat your man with the foot that you're good on, and then cross the ball in. You know, we don't cross the ball, and we've seen it last season. When we cross the ball, we could score goals. You know, I think that's why Darwin hasn't really been eaten because of that lack of crosses coming from the flanks. Because Salah and Diaz both want to cut inside because that's their favorite foot. You know,
they migrate towards it too. They often find themselves like as in we become so narrow because of like them kind of wanting to go to that central role. But go ahead.
Yeah, and exactly, and that's why I think I wouldn't mind seeing the front 3 or 4, whatever Scott wants to play. That they actually might go back to basics. But But I feel Salah is never going to play on the left wing. That's the problem. But Diaz, we've seen him on the right in games, and I tell you the truth, he played much better.
He played well.
Arsenal, he played
He
well.
played well. Arsenal, he played on the right wing. Played well.
Yeah. So for me, there's enough options up top. There's enough options what you can do.
Yeah, I don't think, like I said, like I was talking about my priorities earlier on, and obviously, a couple of people had different, which is brilliant. Other people having their shout on what we could, it's, I say centre back, and I say DM, and someone else says no, we need wingers, so it opens up the idea, opens up the discussion. I would replace a lot more players than I want to go into detail on tonight, because that's not what this is about. But it's like, if I had my first, I'm talking about my in-tray, first centre half, second DM, and then you can go, and if you can do other things, then you can go off and do other things. But they'd be the first two things that I would do. It's modern tactics, isn't it? It's everything is cyclical in football. Tactics are cyclical, and it's moved to an inverted winger idea. I mean, Nunes would have been playing with inverted wingers at Benfica, or he wouldn't have been he wouldn't have been playing old school 4-4-2. He would, so that's tactics now, and that's what, it's about getting your wide options from different players, or now it's gone to being, having inverted midfields. I wouldn't be at all surprised if in 20 years' time, players playing on their right side, on their natural side, is back in fashion, and old school, having centre forwards is back in fashion, because once everyone starts doing the same thing, small clubs come up with ideas to beat if all the big clubs line up in a 4-3-3 and then go into an inverted and become a 4-2-4, and then people just come up with ways to beat it, and things have to change. Things will move. The inverted winger thing now means you only have to play with one striker, because your two boys can cut in and score. Well, they need to score. So hopefully, to me, you will have because tactics are not set in stone now. 100%, they will have to change. Stuff will come back around. Different things will come around, because people just come up with ideas. Like I say, to beat the bigger teams, that they all do this, constantly changing and evolving. So yeah, again, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we go back to, no, let's drop the inverted winger thing. Let's keep our boys wide. Let's start doing that, because no one's doing that, and people can't cope with it because no one's expecting it. So that's what's brilliant about tactics. They're constantly evolving and changing and moving, and having to, because people are always trying. It's like chess. It's like you think you come up with your tactic, someone watches you do it for 5 weeks and go, right, that's how I stop that. And then you come up against some top class manager and he stops you completely. Okay, right, someone can stop this tactic now. I've got to come up with some idea of how, and you change and evolve. So, and like you said, he did look good on the right. And I think a lot to do with that is because everyone just plays with inverted all the time, fullbacks are now only used to dealing with wingers who invert. And they're not used to dealing with wingers who just stay on their side and do old school, get wide and cross it in shit.
Right.
So that's just the way it goes. It's people become conditioned to, they're going to invert. They're always going to cut in. They don't hug the touchline. I never played against anyone who just hugs the touchline, old school type.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, if Diaz has a tendency to, try to cut in to his right, if he is playing on the right, he either has the option of cutting into his left, obviously, but he also can then he can start utilizing more so, like, you remember when we went back in time and we were in the DeLorean, kind of like what we saw Stevie G do when he had that incredible cross where he is able to he took the ball to the right and just and went around him on the left and just just looped back and brought the ball back, utilizing his pace, utilizing his ability. But being outright it is going to force him to have to cross more so than look for shots, most likely, you know? And I think that could be a part of his game that he starts to incorporate more so if he is on the right side. When you have a right-footed, I believe when you have a right-footed player on the right side, they'll look to cross more often than shoot, probably because
if they can cross. If they can cross, if it hasn't coached out of them, you know, to cross the ball. You know, it's a bit of a dying art these days. But
it's and real quick, Irish, I'll let you finish your point. I was going to say real quick. And also what it was for me too was it's even you can even reverse engineer it. I believe, for instance, one of the major reasons why Gomez has played really well is because he's a right-footed player playing in that left back position. So therefore, you're going against players that are expecting the opposite, but yet now your strong foot is on the side that they like to go to, and that's not.
That's one of the tactical innovations against it.
Yeah,
because I said that a while ago. I think I wasn't saying to you, but I think that's one thing that allows him, because he's naturally, when you come up against inverted, then why don't you just make your fullbacks inverted?
Right.
If you want to defend it, because that will negate what they want to do. So that would be. Well, let's do that. That will stop this. Let's do that. That will beat that. You know, if they try and do this, we'll do that, and that will beat it. No, it was just with the with the guys up front. It's just great to be able to not just put it down and say that's that. Let's have a Gakpo and a Salah and a Diaz that can just do 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Diaz go out to the right for a little while. Gakpo moves to the left. Mo goes into the middle, and keep moving and keep shifting and look for where, because we underestimate some players' ability to read a game on the pitch and define a game themselves and to spot where weaknesses are and to go and attack a player and to realize I'm going to go at that guy just for 2 minutes. I'm just going to, and just switch him back over. And then Salah's back out and then Gakpo's back in the middle and Diaz back on the left again. That's a really good, not a weapon, but, a kind of an ability to have.
Really good options to have, I believe. That's the primary thing, is having options.
Yeah, if you can just entertain, it's like if a guy knows he's going up against Gakpo all night, he can man mark him. If a guy wants, but Gakpo's left, now he's central. Now Diaz is on the right. Now Diaz is back on the left. I like that, but again, I can always just give me more quality all the time. Mo's quality, like you said earlier on, the days of him beating people and dribbling past people seem to have gone to a degree. I've always like.
Not only that too, Brian. Also with if we're going to have it, and this is not a knock, but more so, the work rate of the press work rate and defensive measures of Salah have taken a little bit of a downturn as well. Like he's more of like a shadow as opposed to a presence when it comes to really bringing out like a press, like the levels of press that we had when we had that front three that was was that menacing.
Even out of the three of them though, he was always at the bottom, I reckon. I reckon though, even JK will probably agree, even out of the three of those guys, like Bobby,
he was the ladder of the three.
Mane was unreal at triggering the press. Like Bobby could do it in the spaces, but Mane was always like just chase, like the way they used to chase down the goalkeeper. Mane would do it, and it would actually cause a problem. Not like the mindless shit where you just chase him down for the sake of it. Like if Mane chased you down, he realized that actually I can do it. And the amount of times he caused goalkeepers.
Him and Bobby. Bobby was good at that too.
Bobby was a genius at it, but he did, it just seemed to Mane was the one that always triggered the press, if you know what I'm saying. Bobby did it too. But,
I totally agree. Yeah,
and he was so good at it. It's like all of a sudden a goalkeeper's like, oh shit, the amount of times where there's nothing on and then Mane's 2 feet away from it and the goalkeeper says, "Oh shit," and throws it out for a corner or something, just completely melts his brain. Bobby was doing it through the middle. Salah was always just there waiting to pick up the scraps, and of course he'd trigger it. Of course he'd work.
Yeah.
But I just think we had like that front line. I think Klopp must have woken up every morning just going, "Oh my god, these people! What a, like literally just I couldn't have asked for 3 better players."
Mm-hmm.
But
that's
I think
that's something that what we're missing is that kind of relentless press from our front line.
So
was one of the major reasons why our back line was so stressed out in essence too at times.
It starts from the front. You defend from the front. If you don't defend well from the front, the midfield is under more pressure. The midfield is under more pressure. The defense is under more pressure. Very simple.
But that's also and that's another reason why I wouldn't mind seeing Salah possibly move to the 10. If he does move to the 10, he moves centrally, then you're not so reliant on him being the tip of the spear for your press. He is a part of he can be a part of the pressure, but I mean, like, as in he's not the main he's not part of that front line that is going to be pushing forward to try to recover the ball quickly. That's just my suggestion or quick idea.
JK.
Yeah. When you said 20 years from now, I thought you were going to say goalkeeper is going to be playing up front.
Yeah.
Some inverted craziness. But for me, the press, one has to initiate it. And as Brian was saying, Mane was the guy. He used to like situations just to pop up for our attackers because of Mane's pressing. I think pressing is a very good form of attack in a weird sort of way. It sort of brings mistakes. And I think our pressing sort of died down ever since Mane and Bobby both left. And also about the Diaz topic, 12, that I haven't been Diaz's greatest fan and stuff, but I realised in the time where we had all them injuries and stuff, Diaz was the one guy he was putting a shift in. And he's always the go-to guy to release pressure from the defence. He gets the ball and holds on to the ball for about 20, 30 seconds. Well, 20 seconds, for example. Not a lot of players can do that. So I have no problems with Diaz, but I just wish he could be a natural winger. Get the ball, beat a man, get the ball in. But he isn't going to do that on the left-hand side.
But there's not many natural wingers any longer in the game, really. It seems like everybody wants to be that inside forward kind of like.
That's what they're brought up to be. But that's what they're brought up to be.
Yeah.
As well in their training when they're as kids, they're trained into these positions. They don't, they're told like this is what you can do. This is where you're going to play, and that's what they're coached into doing. They coach when Guardiola brought Jeremy Doku to Man City, it was almost kind of like a meta performance art kind of thing where he was going to bring it to the level. It's like, look at this guy. He's an absolute dribbling machine. This guy can beat players for that. Like I think he averaged in his first season close to 8 completed dribbles per match, which is completely off the charts. Completely 8 per game. It's off the charts, right? Successful dribble, and it was almost like Guardiola was going, "Watch what I do to him in 2 years. In 2 years' time, come back and Doku will pass. Probably try and beat a player once in a game. If you're lucky, he'll try and dribble past some guy once." Yeah. He just brought that guy and go, "Look at how raw this is," and everyone's looking and going, "This isn't very Guardiola at all." Like, I won't go with the Thierry Henry story again. We've done it enough times, but it's almost like, and Villa fans have said it. It's like, if you took the name off the back, they would not know that was Jack Grealish. They do not recognize the player that left Villa.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
It's just, who is that guy? It's just pass.
It's just like it's the same thing. It's like you hear everyone wants to, obviously everyone would like to see the end results be better for all of our wingers, but like you just brought up Grealish. One of the players that they one of the reasons why they got Doku was because he creates his ability to create with his pace and with his ability to dribble, you know. And
we saw it firsthand. We saw it in that game against us. He was electric. I would fight anybody who says he wasn't. He was electric.
Right. He was giving Trent problems and like
leaving people on their arses.
And even I think even did Connor play against him too? I think too, right? But he is a problem for anyone that he goes up against, but he doesn't have the end product.
He scored a lot of goals. He came in bursts because I had him in my. He scored a hat trick in a single game. He got a hat trick of assists in another game. He went off on a few occasions. He really did. Like he put an end to all the dribbling. Started banging in goals. It was like, Jesus. If this guy plays like this every week, it's mental. But obviously, for a seasoned young player dealing with the Guardiola grind machine, you know, you imagine being told where to stand, where to go. For a player like him, who you can see all natural ability. He's just all natural ability. And to go into a Guardiola team, it's like, well, okay, no, you stand there. Like telling the best players in the world, you're 6 inches too far forward. You should be 2 feet to the left. Oh, okay. Right, fair enough. Like it's a rude awakening, and I hate to see it. By the way, I hate to see it. You want to see him go to a club where he's allowed to express himself, maybe a little bit more.
Like if he was able to go to like a Villa or West Ham or something. Or,
if he was at Tottenham, can you imagine what he'd be doing every week?
Even Spurs, if he had went to Spurs, that would be something. Spurs have Spurs had some of. There's teams now are really getting. You know, you're seeing the outgoings. You're seeing a lot of the teams trying to. Again, you know, I understand people don't like to hear the sell to buy thing, but you know, you're hearing the releasing players, which obviously relinquishes some of the salaries that are on the books. You know, and also I know it's noted. Spurs had a couple of names that were released today too. Some notable names, 1 or 2 notable names too. There is something before we bounce out of here. I am going to say there is some news that was out there also that I'm interested. I'm not certain if I will be able to. I'll see him as in the sense of I'll see. It depends on what game I get the opportunity to go to for Copa America, because I am going to go to Copa America here. But apparently, we were just speaking about goalkeepers earlier in the show. There is something that I did want to bring up, and that was Liverpool are reportedly interested in Atletico Paranaense goalkeeper Bento. Bento has impressed in his home country as of late, which has ended up resulting in him being called up by Brazil. And his name is on the Copa America provisional list. So he's a keeper that I don't necessarily think that we'll get to see him play, but it is a good call to see him be able to get that call up. But he is now apparently a goalkeeper that we are highly interested in. I don't know if anyone has any ideas as to his ability, or I don't think anyone is watching.
No,
Paranaense. Huh?
Yeah, Atletico Paranaense. Yeah, that's Bento. There's a Bento burger, isn't there? Bento. Isn't that like a chain of shops or something? Bento.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Bento. It is.
Again,
I think it's like a vegetarian burger. I want to say, or something like that.
Yeah, I definitely heard the phrase Bento burger in my life.
Yeah.
He used to play for the current Brazilian coach.
Okay.
Yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. If we can do 25 for Kelleher and go out and get some guy that's like 2.5 million or 3 million and is actually really good, because come on.
Yeah.
You know, Kelleher's class.
I'm all in on that.
We don't need to go and get spend the same money on replacing Kelleher, but If
I
like we
mean,
got this new, someone just said earlier on, we've got this new goalkeeping guy, right?
yeah,
Head of
that was yeah,
goalkeeping.
that
Yeah,
was me. But
so
yeah.
Hans thingy.
Yes.
So
Yep.
I'm sure
Hans
he'll have his
Hans
list.
Leitert as in Leitert. He's Austrian, so I guess you'd have to put an Austrian pronunciation on that.
Yeah. So I'm sure he's got a list of the top 10 best young
But the
goalkeepers in the
Brazilian,
world.
but I thought that the Brazilian coach that we had did stay on. I that's what was reported. That
Pepperell,
Oh,
yeah.
Tafarel. Yeah, no, he's not gone. No,
yeah,
he's just, but he's a goal. Well, actually, I say he's not gone. I don't know. Apparently, everybody's gone. He might be. I don't know.
no, there's reports that he was staying on, and that was why like the reports about Alisson being possibly coerced into going to Saudi Arabia. I didn't really put too much into it because the chances are that if he's staying, there might be the reason why he is staying. The keeper coach Taffarel. Yep, like as in one of the major reasons why he would want to stay is because he still has the connections to Alisson and obviously to Peter Luga. Yes, I can pronounce it. But
Yeah, he was one of my heroes growing up. I used to play keeper when I was younger, and two of my favorite players, my two favorite goalkeepers when I was a kid. Obviously Packy Bonner, right, the Ireland goalkeeper, right, that was different. He's Packy Bonner. Apart from him, it was Taffarel and Walter Zenga,
mhm,
the Inter goalkeeper. Walter Zenga was my favorite, and then it
yeah,
was Taffarel.
yeah.
You 12 man, you're a goalkeeper, yeah.
Yeah.
He was your guy.
Who do I for goal? I wasn't. I liked goalkeepers, but I didn't necessarily. I didn't have like a goalkeeper that I was like, oh, I want to emulate to be like that
Mm-hmm.
goalkeeper per se. I have to think about it because in the U.S. and in America, goalkeepers are that was if there was any way to get into European football, that was certainly one of the ways to do it, basically.
Oh, that was hilarious back in the 90s. Yeah, it was like American goalkeepers were trusted.
Yeah,
It was really
whether it was
there was
Brad
just really
Friedel,
obvious.
whether it was yeah,
But American outfield players, it was like, no, I don't know about that. Yeah, it was. But goalkeepers, oh yeah, cool, fine. Yeah, that's good. There was,
yeah.
yeah, you've got what's his name, Casey Keller, Brad Friedel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty solid. One of them. Friedel even played for Liverpool.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, he did. I think we probably got rid of Friedel too early, to be honest, and probably. I mean, I think if we just played him from the start, he was better than some of the goalkeepers we had
Saying
afterwards.
this, but I would have probably said if I had said anyone that I liked Jorge Campos, or maybe even who he's like a little bit too. I mean, I'd say probably Jorge Campos, but I probably would definitely say what I would probably say the keeper. I would probably say also is what Chris just said too. That's a good shout too.
Rene Gita, yeah.
The Scorpion.
Yeah.
It was an incredible keeper. Yeah, but Jorge Campos I liked because he was just like just because he was a keeper that wanted to play offense. So that's why I think every goalkeeper wants to score goals. It's kind of crazy concept. Every goalkeeper thinks they can score goals at least.
Packy Bonner, if you're Irish, you grew up in the 80s, 90s. Packy Bonner is a national hero. Never got to play, but saved a penalty in the World Cup last 16 is sent us through to the quarterfinal.
Yeah,
And he's been a national hero ever since, basically. So
Tony Miola. Yeah,
Tony
shout out
Miola,
to Tony.
Tony Miola.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
thing about keepers, though. There've been some really iconic keeper. Like when there's a good one, you remember them. They're like a Campos Campos.
Mhm.
Like I was saying to you the other night, I was saying he was like Agassi. With the really
Yes.
flamboyant.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he was like the
Exactly.
Agassi of football. He was like really just like, no, I want to stand out.
Yeah.
Like
Wore very, very bright, colorful kits and like.
but like a brilliant
Yeah.
keeper. But like also he could back it up because he was a brilliant keeper. So but he was tiny. Like these days he'd be like, dude, you're too small. Like I think he was like 5'8", which for a
Right.
keeper is stupid.
Yeah.
And he played World Cups, he played everything. But yeah, there's nothing better than a crazy keeper. Come on.
No, there's nothing. I mean, like, look, I know a lot of people don't like Tim Howard. I get that, but I thought Tim Howard was an exceptional keeper.
Yeah, I knew there was another one. Yeah. Keller, Friedel, and Tim Howard. I knew there was another one. Yeah, they're all good. Yeah, all really solid goalkeepers.
Solid goalkeepers, and all keepers that got to play at top tier clubs in England too. By the way, certainly. I mean,
I think I would probably rank him.
Friedel played for Everton, and I think he played for. I want to say he played for Manchester United too. I think.
Oh, he did play for Manchester. I would probably rank him Friedel, Keller, Howard.
Okay.
What do you think, JK? Okay. You remember all of them. So I'd go 1, 2, 3. I'd go Friedel, Keller, Howard. What would you?
Mark's got probably my favorite goalkeeper, quite possibly.
Yeah, about right, Brian.
Sylvester Stallone is possibly one of the best goalkeepers of all time.
Oh yeah. But bonus points for the first person. Bonus points for the first person to put in the chat what Stallone's name was, what his character's surname was
in the movie.
The Victory. What his second name was. It was his nickname, so that's what they called him. They just called him by one name in the whole movie. So what was Stallone's name in Escape to Victory? It was his nickname. Mm-hmm. So bonus points for that. Don't Google it.
Yeah, Google it. Don't Google it. I don't know off the top of my head. It was not.
No, continue on. Well, first person to not Google it.
I don't think it was Tony. No,
it's a nickname. It wasn't Tony. It was like a nickname.
Yeah.
It wasn't a name. It was his second name.
But Luca Toni was one of my my favorite players growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was an awesome player. I enjoy the Italians. I enjoy that era of Italian football.
Strikers, yeah. Big. The names Raggio, Del Piero. But for me, goalkeeper wise, I know you played for Man United, but for me, Schmeichel was the guy. What a goalkeeper!
Schmeichel was a good goalkeeper.
He was top.
Yeah, you really have to be magnanimous. Like if you can't, nobody that loves football or knows football could disagree with that. As much as you don't want to bring it up, like I hated that guy. I hated him so much, and the only reason I hated him was he was that good. Yeah. Like if he hadn't been any good, I wouldn't have given a shite about him. But I hate him, and the only reason you really hate oppo players is when they're good.
Yeah,
you don't care. Yeah, you don't like if someone's not that great. You don't really give enough of a damn about them to hate them.
Well, that's like Peter Cech. I can't stand Peter Cech, but I mean,
those guys that always used to show up against you and hurt your team. That you always hate. Yeah, it's just like, oh, I hate that guy.
Yeah,
and Schmeichel is one of those guys because he'd watched like other teams like battering Man United when we were up against them, and Schmeichel would just be pulling off save after save.
Yeah. I don't. I personally, those guys I definitely are on my I can't stand those guys list, but it's the goalkeepers or it's the players that are basic, are borderline basic, and when they play against us, have like this world-class performance.
Mhm.
Those are the names that I can't stand. For some reason, it's like they like circle Liverpool the date when they have to face off against Liverpool, and they have like the game of their life. But but the rest of the year, they're below average. Yeah. Has anyone gotten your trivia question? I don't think anyone has.
I don't think so. No.
I don't think so.
I think if we can do the H,
Yes.
how
So, well done. I'm going to give
What was
you
it?
time. Let your brain work. Let your brain work.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're nearly there. I know. I was going to say it.
Because I remember his name. It's coming to me. It's coming. I'll get it in a minute.
Age? Okay.
Like I say, it's not like Harry. It's
it's
like a nickname. But it was I think it was his surname, but they called him by it, and it sounds like a nickname. It's not an actual name.
Hatch.
Hutch.
Well done.
Hutch.
There you go.
Hutch. It is Hutch.
No, not Hutch.
Hatch.
Yeah.
Hatch with an A.
Yeah, Hatch or Hutch. Yeah, I knew it was Hatch or Hutch. Yeah.
Hatch.
Good call, JK.
Yeah.
It's always better to use your brain rather than use Google if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh no! As soon as she said H, I was like, he's going to get this. So I was like, no, cool. I get
Hatch. It is.
Yeah.
That's totally right.
Yeah.
That's totally right.
Good question.
I have a quick question, real quick.
Everyone remembers the scene where they had to break the other guy's arm. Do you remember that scene?
Oh gosh, don't bring that.
Yeah, everyone remembers that scene. It was like, oh, damn, and then it's like, probably and Stallone is there, just like, yeah, okay. It's just like your man is like, hey, go do it, Hatch, and he's like, yeah, whatever. They just broke my arm for you, dude. He's like, yeah, whatever. And he goes, yeah, that's a crazy movie, man.
Good
like, really, you couldn't make that today. Imagine trying to make that today.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
such a cool movie.
But Ronaldo and Messi would be like, we're not going to be at the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I did have a real quick question for everyone. I don't know what happened to the. Okay, it's back. Yes, Michael Caine. Michael Caine was in that movie. So he was. He was the English presence on the team. He was. He was the captain, I think. Right?
Yeah, I think we Bobby Moore, no?
He was the captain of the team.
Yeah, Bobby Moore was in it. Pele was in it.
It was such a great movie. Such a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Caine was like the English sergeant.
Right. I wish Valderrama played keeper. I think you're thinking of Jimmy. I think you're thinking of the Scorpion King, actually, or
Higuita. Yeah. Oh yeah, he means Higuita.
I think that's what you're thinking of. Because Valderrama was one of my favorite players growing up too. I loved Valderrama. I thought he was. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I have an affliction towards Colombian players. But yeah, Valderrama was like an amazing, absolutely incredible player. Absolutely incredible player. But I had a quick question too, real quick. I'm gonna bring this up before. Let me make sure before we bounce out, because this is a player that apparently is a very hot topic player right now. Make sure I don't have the video on there.
Chris got you.
And I was going to ask you.
Chris is calling you out. He's not. Yeah. Chris is calling me out.
No. I don't know about that.
There'll be nothing wrong.
Yeah, honesty. That's who it was.
I mean, I mean, Shakira. I mean, I'm sorry, but
Yeah, I know that's true. That's true. Don't
Shakira
lie.
is
Um,
Shakira is something different. And I think
it's
he's
true.
right, man. Both Colombian women
Bef- Before we bounce out, there was one
and
question
all women.
I wanted to bring up this player. He's not a center back. He's not a defensive midfielder. He's just someone that is very. It's been talked about on a lot of different programs. And it was someone that I was wondering if anyone had a real idea of what this player is representing, because apparently Manchester United are interested in him. Arsenal has been interested in putting Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United are all interested. They're all looking for possible additions to their striker, if not getting in a striker that is their first choice. There's a name out there named Benjamin Sesko. I'll bring up the FB report.
Oh yeah,
FB ref actually. Have you guys? Has anyone real quick? Because I'm gonna end. We're already on the tarmac by the gate. We're gonna let you guys out to your final destinations. But I just had a quick question. Does anyone have like a real read on this player? Is he worth a lot of the clout or a lot of the a lot of the buzz that he's getting as of late? Benjamin
JK, you're in.
Sesko.
JK,
Yeah,
you're in
he's in your neck of the woods. JK,
Mm-hmm. No, he had a good season.
good
With
season.
the
Or
other
is he a
guy,
one season guy? Is that what it
I
is,
think
or has he had consistency?
that's the thing. Is like his name kept on coming up this season and stuff. And before that, I never even heard of him. So if they want to pay big money for him, it's up to them. It might be a bit of a gamble. As soon as you said Man United are interested in him, I thought forget it. you know. But he's okay. He's okay. But I haven't really seen
Yeah,
that much of him. But
60 at
his name's been
played for
mentioned.
RB Salzburg. They went to RB Leipzig.
That's the thing, you see. That's the thing.
So,
Went to RB
The guy
Salzburg.
is
Leipzig had 16 goals with RB Leipzig, or Salzburg, excuse me, and had 14 goals in his last campaign with RB Leipzig, actually. So Salzburg had 16 goals and 4 assists, and then with in the Bundesliga with RB, he had 14 goals and 2 assists.
yeah.
But they're all
They
pretty much not. They're all like for the most part MPG.
they're
Go ahead. I mean to talk over your speaker. Go ahead.
no, I just United. They wanted him before he went to Leipzig, so it was a lot of chat about it. I remember that last summer he was like one of the big names, and then there was a few people like, he's going to Leipzig. He's going from Red Bull Salzburg to Red Bull Leipzig. That's what's going to happen. But he was been linked to loads of things. And apparently, yeah, Man United, they tried to buy him. And then they got Highland. So before, like, he was going to be their young player, young striker. And they were prepared to put all the money on him. But he went to Leipzig, obviously, did the Red Bull move. And they
scored against us
moved
too.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Scored against us
massively
3 years back when he played for Salzburg.
Yeah, one of the most highly rated young players in terms of, because we're talking about shallow pools. If you're talking about strikers, he'd be up there in his age bracket,
right?
Not just in his age bracket right now, which wouldn't be far off what we were talking about when we brought in Darwin. So you're talking about a guy that's
right.
going.
No, they're looking at like 85 million. Is apparently the number.
That's why he goes to Leipzig, and not like it's just so they do that deal. He goes there, puts in a good season.
Oh, you're saying because it's Red Bull and because
of course,
Red Bull,
he goes from Red Bull Salzburg to Red Bull Leipzig. United never had a chance. Red Bull were like, we're not going to sell him to you now because you know how good he is. We're going to send him to the Bundesliga. He's going to put up numbers in the Bundesliga, and then he's going to be worth twice as much. Well, not twice as much with the offer.
Yes, I understand the point.
They'll sell him from Leipzig because they did the same with Haaland. Haaland went from Salzburg to Leipzig.
Yep.
From
To
Leipzig to
Dortmund.
Dortmund.
Yeah, or to Leipzig, excuse me. Yeah.
So that's their
Yeah, my
thing.
fault.
So
Yeah.
that's what they. This guy, though, if you're talking about real deal, nobody knows if he's the real deal. But right now, in his age bracket, there's a reason why everyone's circling him. If he works
Mhm.
out, he looks. If he is right, he has I think the physicality and the build for the Premier League.
6'4". He's 6'4",
Yeah.
I think.
Real,
It's a big
he
guy.
ain't he's a goal scorer. He's done it at every level. So does he go to the next level and do it there?
Little
That's the
bit
unanswerable
light
question.
in the britches. Yeah, a little bit light in the britches, but I mean, like 170 pounds, 6'4". But
That's not heavy for a guy that tall. Indeed, that is not heavy
no, it's
for a guy.
not. That's what I'm saying. I know.
No,
Yeah,
that ain't.
trust. I
No.
definitely know that.
Yeah,
Definitely know that because I know. I am not 6'4", but I am definitely over 170 pounds. So
big brain, big
I was
brain.
just wondering if anyone had any bit of a read. I just saw that come up as of late, as in his name has really been out there.
He's going to the
David
Euros.
Ornstein had him as a feature, as one of the feature players that he was referencing in they do these specials, and that was one of the names that was mentioned was out of the two, if not three players that they brought up, he was the one that was like the most heavily talked about, and he was the one that had the most people on that going on. But that's why I was wondering. That's why I was wondering if anyone had heard anything about that as well.
Is he Swiss? Isn't it? Is he, or is he freaking Bosnian or something? Sesko.
Is he? No, he's Slovak. He's from Slovenia. Slovenia.
He's from Slovenia. Is it Slovenia?
Yes. Yeah.
Or Slovakia? Because I think they're both going to the Euros. Yeah. I think he's going to be at the Euros.
Slovenia.
Yeah, and I think I think they've qualified for the Euros. Have they?
SLV. Yeah. Did they? Okay. I'm not
sure. Yeah, because I thought I heard that.
I'll check for you.
No, because I heard he was going to be at the. Well, was it him? Reading random stories. Oh, if he has a good Euros or whatever. If he's the guy I'm thinking of, if he does go to the Euros,
they are in the Euros, by the way. Yes,
yeah,
in the Euros. They're in the group with. They're in England's group.
Oh, they're in. That's it. They're in that horrible group. Yeah. So if he goes and scores a few goals at the Euros and has a good tournament, then
that'll be huge, huge. That'll be huge for him. Like his agent is definitely Slovenia. He's got he's going to be facing off against Denmark. Who else is in that group? Serbia, I think, is in that group, right? And
yeah.
I don't know.
Is it Serbia? Yeah. Denmark, England. He could, he put up a couple of good performances against those teams. Yeah. Denmark aren't that good. You're not expecting them to go far in that tournament, but yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Big up Abdul, by the way.
Oh, hi Abdul. JK, can you do predicted best 11 pure 24 and unsung heroes world 11? Yep, that'll be a show. That's a good show. We'll do that sometime.
What? Write it down. Definitely write it down. If you guys ever have ideas for shows, I got you. If you guys ever have any shows that you guys think of or want to see, definitely just put them in the comments. Or if you do have, if you follow me on, you can see my X. I gotta change the Twitter bird to X now, I guess, but I just like the Twitter bird anyway. If you ever
became a whole different place today, we won't talk about that though.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that update. But but yeah, if you are on X or Twitter, you can reach out and you can reach me on there and tell me if there's an idea or concept that you guys like. Yeah, definitely. But it always helps too, immensely helps if you guys put them in the comments. Us getting comments helps the algorithm kind of push our content out there so that we do have numbers like this, like we did today, which are like really exceptional numbers for us.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And big thanks again. Thank you to everyone that was in and contributed. Chat was really good. Chat was like constantly going. It's really good. Chat's always really good, like constant on our channel. It's
undefeated.
Yeah, but it always kind of constantly rolls. It's never slow, or even if there's only like a few people in.
Oh, even if there's
rolling, which is really
people. Cool. They're engaging. They're always like, you know, with the topic. You know, they'll be like, you know, they'll be they bring contributions that are actually always well. We already said that I told Bernie that maybe we'll have to come up with a segment for honesty called Honesty News or Honest News from Honesty or something. We'll think of something. I'm not the title creator. The Irishman is the title creator, so I'm sure he'll come up with a good name for it. But yes. We're gonna let you go on to your final destinations. We're gonna have a throwback Thursday tomorrow. We're definitely it's going to be a fun ride getting into the DeLorean and going back in time. Hope you can join us for that. And then, of course, finally Friday will be upon us. So it's crazy how this week has just flown by. But is there anything you want to say to the people before we let them go onto their final destinations? JK, would you like to say something?
Just good talking football. It's like we've got transfer window now. We've got the Euros. There's enough football to keep people interested, you know. Also, I like Honesty's little news clip cut-ups about certain transfers and that. It's good to see.
Certainly, honestly, big up.
Yeah, copy and paste is alive and well.
Hey, you gotta be there. You gotta see them first. You gotta read them. Someone's got to do the reading. Yeah, someone's got to do the reading research. I appreciate that, honestly.
He's like our little, you know, scrolling. What do they call him on the news channels? The stuff that keeps updating and scrolling.
Oh yeah.
He's our
breaking news. Our breaking news. News banner. Yeah.
Banner. That's what they call it. The banner. Yeah.
Irishman, is there anything you'd like to say to people before we let them go on to their final destinations?
No, just have a nice night.
Yeah,
nothing special. Sure. Yeah, just thanks again. No, the numbers were really good tonight. So
absolutely, I'm hoping that we can maintain that for sure. Hoping we see you guys tomorrow and Friday. Look, we're here mostly. I try to make an effort. Usually, unless something comes up, I try to make an effort to be here every day to bring you guys some bit of the football world. Also, just a place for us to all gather and be able to, you know, congregate, talk football, enjoy the fact that we have our brethren and that have this ability to have our brethren here to, you know, just speak on what we love, which is Liverpool football and football in general. So appreciate each and every one of you guys. We will see you hopefully tomorrow in the 7:00 hour of the UK. And as always, I always say, make sure that you continue to take care of your own physical health, but also your mental health. So important that you do so. If you can't do it, if you can't do that, please do reach out for professional help if it's available. And I'm sure should always be so. But also always recognize and realize that we always will walk along your side as Reds. It's part of our DNA. So I would like to finish by saying, as always, up the Reds. Peace.